Hello, neighbors.
Hello.
This is Daniel.
This is Katie.
And this is the Future Neighbor Podcast. Welcome back. Welcome back.
We welcome you back as married people.
Yes. In the States, you would carry my last name. You would be Mrs. O.
Thank God I live in Korea.
I think we shared in a different podcast, but your last name in English letters is OK, and mine is OH.
Yeah.
So it's not far. But I don't know why I start off with this, but I might as well say in Korea, typically the women, you know, in the States, again, like I said, you carry the last name, but in Korea, you go with your original name.
Yeah, you don't have to change your name.
Yeah. Before I forget, this episode is brought to you by Gochujar. Gochujar is a place where you can buy Korea's best artisan food products, ceramics, and more. We have a lot more in store. One thing that I'm happy about Gochujar, last month we did our best month. And can I get a little applause? Jeez, Katie.
I was looking for the button.
No. We bought this machine to record, and we have all these functionalities. It's like my mom buying an iPhone. She just uses it to call and use Kakao Chat. That's it. All the 999 features she forgets.
What a waste.
Yeah, we just press record and that's it. But yeah, Gochujar is now, when we went on our honeymoon, and one of the things that I've been testing in the last 6 months has been how much of dependency does Gochujar have on us uploading YouTube videos? Because in the beginning, a lot of our traffic came from our YouTube videos. But now I'm happy to say that Gochujar, like a kid, has grown out of its diaper stages, has grown legs, and is just walking around. Meaning it ranks very high in Google. So we get a lot of organic search traffic, which means that even if we don't upload videos, the business is starting to self-sustain.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that I'm really happy about. Not that because, when you do any businesses, you want to reduce the risk or the codependency of platforms. So let's say that we get sick of doing YouTube, then our other business still, hopefully by then it's like flying, doing gymnastics, right? Graduated from diapers, like Olympic. Anyway, I'll stop that. If you guys need any products or you have friends that are getting wedded, we have a lot of good Korean products there. So keep an eye out for that. And we'll also, now that we're back from our honeymoon, we have the wedding out of the way. We are so focused now.
Oh, so relieved, and we are ready to start fresh again.
We're ready to work. work. Work.
Well, at the beginning of our honeymoon, we were like, I couldn't really get used to this like relax, do nothing mode.
Yeah.
Because in life in Seoul, it's all about go.
Go. Like, Kitty, remember you were saying that we wake up so early?
Oh my God. I've never seen myself wake up that early. But somehow when we got to Jeju and like I started to wake up at 6 a.m. with no alarm. And then like I have nothing to do, but I wake up so early and I'm like, let's go out.
We have never woken up at 6 a.m. in Seoul. But on our honeymoon, we couldn't sleep past 7.
No.
We woke up like 6:30, 6:45.
We started our day so early.
I know.
Nothing's open.
We would wake up and be like, what's wrong with us? We don't know how to relax.
It was great because we started our day early. We would go to restaurants, but which would typically have so many people queuing up, but we would be the first in the restaurant.
I know. If breakfast starts at 8, we would be there at 7:58. We'd be like, this is great.
By the time we're done, there's people lining up to enter.
Yeah, that was really good. And the funny thing was, after our honeymoon, when we came back to Seoul, we're like, we love this being so productive and waking up early. I think we already broke that. Now we're waking right back up at 10.
Yeah.
There's something with this misemonji or something.
No, it's just Jeju air and we actually switched between different Airbnbs, but the second Airbnb that we were in, we had such a perfect view of the Jeju-do beach. And then so when you wake up, you look out the window, it's like almost picture perfect view of the ocean.
현재섬.
No, it was 사계해변. It's called,
사계해변.
and it's so serene. It has a very countryside vibe, and all you hear is the beach waves and some dogs barking.
Oh, by the way, now we're going a little bit out of order, but it's okay. Talking about waking up early. Remember what we kept saying to each other? What do you say in Korean? That saying, the early bird.
일찍 일어나는 새가 like will eat the food or something.
The early bird gets the worms.
Oh yeah.
And there was two instances. Namely, one time we went to go ride a bike early in the morning.
Oh yes.
And we were just like, la 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 la. Katie's like, film me biking. I want to save it from my memory. Film me. And so like crazy people at 6:30 in the morning, or it must have been probably around 7.
There's nobody there.
There's nobody, and we're biking along the coastline, and it was just absolutely beautiful. And we came across like 4 people that were just huddling across near the rocks, near the shoreline, and they were just up to something. And I was looking, and I was like, what are these ajishis? I mean, these were like 40, 50-year-old like ajishis.
Looks like local, like old people.
Yeah, and I was like, did they catch something?
Yeah.
And I had this like cynical view. I was like, are they like fishing down there or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
And then I looked a little bit closer, and I saw that there was a turtle. We saw that leather brown color back.
Yeah.
It was shiny.
Yeah.
And it was huge.
It was huge.
It was a huge sea turtle. And then I realized they were cutting it. And I thought, in the beginning, for like 0.1 second, I was like, oh, look at these ajishis trying to kill a turtle. I was like, Koreans are terrible. And then I looked, I was like, oh, they're freeing it. Oh, bad cynicism. Damn it. Stop thinking so bad of people. And I was like, oh, they're rescuing it. It must have been caught in a net.
Yeah, but it was.
Yeah.
It was caught in a huge, like those factory nets.
Yeah.
And they couldn't,
fishing nets.
Yeah, and it couldn't move its head and its right arm.
Yeah, so we went down and we saw it. And again, this thing was maybe like half the size of a grown adult, one of those big sea turtles.
Yeah.
And
never seen anything that big.
I saw once in Hawaii, but again, this was huge. And so these people, they were doing such a blessed thing, which is they were part of a beach cleanup crew.
Yeah.
And every Saturday or Sunday, they walk along the Jeju coast and they pick up plastic.
And all the trash.
And they came across it.
Yeah.
So Katie, instantly, you pulled out your phone and you're recording. And Katie was like in a movie. She was like the frantic girl, like, what are we gonna do, y'all? I mean, what is that on its back?
No, the thing is, by the time we got close to that people, they had already cut off all the nets so that the turtle can be freed.
Yeah.
But then like we were questioning, do we want to actually carry the turtle off to the water so it can breathe, and because the turtle looks so tired, and then there's another group of people saying the turtle is hurt. Like you could kind of see that its right arm was kind of hurt and it's in pain. So like we have to like call the
police.
Animal crew, police, and like let the professional come and like treat it. And then like so they called the police, but then it took ages for these people to come. So in the meanwhile we were like, what do we do? And so in the meanwhile was this guy actually like scooping water into this like plastic bottle and like pouring onto the turtle so it can like get some water. But when we poured the water onto the turtle, we could actually see its mouth moving. It seemed like it was like it was thirsty and seeking water. But then we realized, and so the thing is, we didn't know what to do with this turtle to make it feel better. Right.
That was very interesting because like half of the people that were there were like, let's lift this and put it near water. So I helped. I picked up the tail end, and then the 2 other ajishis picked up the sides, and this thing was heavy.
Yes, and that's when I started to get anxious. And in the meanwhile, one of the ajashi were there, film me, so I'm going to send this video to NBC. So I had the job of filming him. But then I saw the turtle and you guys holding it, and it seemed so unstable. Almost looked like the turtle was gonna rock its head to the stone or something. I was like, no, hold it stable. And I have this job of filming. So it was so chaotic.
Yeah, they would never be able to play that on TV. You would just hear, but yeah, the person that was pretty knowledgeable there was like, hey, put it back down because if you put it back to the ocean, probably 99% chance that this thing is going to die in the water.
Yeah.
It's hurt. I could tell its fin is hurt.
Yeah, it's
So
injured.
we need to wait for the police to call the rehabilitation. They were going to call a professor who's going to call it rehabilitation center. And then they need to take it to a treatment center and then release it later after it's fully healed.
Recovered.
And so everyone thought that was a great idea. And then we just waited for the police. And seeing an animal up that close, like sea turtles have existed on the world since dinosaur ages.
I've never seen a sea turtle in my whole life.
Katie, you said the funniest thing. So like, oh my gosh, like... Guys,
no,
like,
don't say it. I sound so stupid.
No. This is Future Neighbor Podcast. We keep it real. So one of the things that Katie says, like she saw this like barnacle that was on the sea turtle's back, and it was like a pretty wicked barnacle because like it was
huge too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but then the thing was like the barnacle would open up and like it was pretty active. The mouth would come up and down, and Katie saw that and she was like, "Oh my gosh, is that its eye?"
Third eye.
It's third eye. And the people there just looked at Katie and was like, "Oh my gosh, so mushiks, me so ignorant." And the guy, such a city person, and the guy was like, "No, that's just a barnacle."
And it's just like, look up on YouTube. There are videos where people take it off.
Yeah. And I kind of looked at Katie too. I was like, "Oh my gosh, look at the person that I married." No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh, that's what you thought.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it just showed us that taking like more interest into marine animals, and we felt like a connection towards like, we have to.
We have to do more to like protect the ocean, and I think we like next time we go to Jeju, like we should take this activity of cleaning up the beach every morning, like.
Yeah, but then later in our honeymoon, when we saw a few plastic bottles, you would just go, "What is that?" Then you would just walk by. So, but there was this movie called Seaspiracy. I watched a little bit of it, and then they were talking about how there's like a lot of grassroots efforts to reduce plastic straws and this, and while that helps, in the big picture, like Okay, I'm misquoting all of the things because it's just going off the top of the head, but the majority, I would say like 85 or 90% of the real harm that's done to sea animals are done by commercial fishing nets, right? So this sea turtle also was caught in a fishing net, right?
Yeah.
So if we really want to make an impact on basically on this issue, we really have to go at the source, the fishing nets. But of course, all the grassroots stuff help as well. And I think that makes sense. But their conclusion was we need to stop eating fish, which is it's a little bit drastic. I think there could be other healthy mediums. Anyway, I'm digressing into, this was supposed to be about our honeymoon. Now we're talking about this. But
no, it started from what happens, all the wonders that happens when you wake up early.
Yeah. What was the second wonder we came across?
The second wonder is that I remember exactly even the time. So we woke up at 6:30 again. And then I was just looking out, getting ready. And it was around 8 a.m. And then I came out of the like Airbnb just to walk a little bit. And I look out the ocean and I saw dolphins.
Wow. It's
awesome. Like a dolphin family. It was like 3 dolphins in a row.
I've never seen dolphins in real life, but they were just
out in the like far into the ocean because it was a very clear day. Yeah. And I started to see these fins come up and down, up and down.
That's amazing.
I know. And actually Jeju-do is like, if you're really lucky, like I heard you can actually see dolphins. So I knew that they exist, but I thought like you have to go out to the ocean on this like, boat tour to see that.
But your reaction was hilarious because you like ran up the stairs. I could actually hear your footsteps with your sit up by your slippers. Like, and then like you were just banging on the doors. I was like, oh, she must have seen a cockroach on the way up the stairs or something. And then you opened up and you're like, 돌거라! And I was like, what?
Dolphins. You have to look now.
Yeah.
That it just showed how like clean the water must be and like clean, healthy the the ocean there.
Yeah, and then 30 minutes later, you saw all of the.
I saw like four fishing boats come, or maybe
No,
whatever.
it wasn't fishing boats. That's gonna like make people sad. It was like those tourist boats
yeah.
where you can go watch dolphins. Like they were trying to follow it, but they were long gone.
Yeah,
right.
I couldn't see them anymore.
Yeah.
So we were really lucky, and we were reminded.
So at that Airbnb in the morning, because it was like right along the coastline, we also saw like Jeju-do or Jeju Island is very famous for Haenyeo, which are typically women who are pretty elderly. They have a long tradition of going under the water and then fishing for shellfish, abalone, and they go in without any scuba gear. They go in just with their breath, and they could stay under for a very long period. And
some trained Haenyeos can go as deep as 20 meters.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's like 20 meters is like, we went scuba diving. So that when you get your open water license, the most basic one, I think you go to 20 meters. That's the max. Yeah. So that's very deep, or relatively deep. We also saw them. So I always heard about Haenyeo, but I thought it was like one of those like touristy things where, you can just see like it's more of tradition that there's no more Haenyeo divers. But right near where the dolphins were the day before, we saw all the Haenyeo divers out there just going underwater, picking up all of the shellfish and like uni and all the sea urchin. And so that
was really beautiful.
That was really beautiful. It was like seeing Jeju-do for its natural beauty, and the history is not history, it's living culture. And so so after I saw that, I was like, because sometimes when you drive in Jeju-do, you'll come across Haenyeo restaurants, which they said they're directly sourced from the grandmothers who go diving. And I was like, whatever, marketing.
You didn't really believe it?
Marketing. But then, now that I see that, I think it really made me want to go and support those businesses more.
Yeah.
So let's take a little bit of a detour from our honeymoon. I think we can also say there's tons more. Unless you want to say something now, and then we can go into our wedding debrief.
I think we kind of mixed up the order.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. So, Katie, a big relief that our wedding is now done with. Initial thoughts. You can go for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and just like, how do you feel now? And
I look back at the photos and the videos that our friends filmed and sent us. It feels so unreal. Like the day happened, but it happened so quickly. For all the stress and preparation that we did, it just flew by, and then now we're here. I don't know. It's kind of hard to believe that it actually happened.
Yeah, it seems like it was a dream.
It does. It really does. And like the first thing that comes to my mind is like all the stress we had because of the weather.
Yeah.
Because the weather during that week kept changing. The forecast kept changing day by day.
Oh my gosh, I aged so much because of that.
Yeah.
The weather would play 밀당. In Korean, that's like when you're dating, like, it's like you send a text.
Push and pull.
Yeah, push and pull, like, but you don't want to reply back quickly, and because you think that person may think that you like them too much. It's like the weather would like, looks like the Daniel and Katie are too comfortable. Let's send a little bit of clouds. And then we sleep, and the next day it says, sunny, no more rain.
Yeah.
And then the next day it says 60% of showering.
Yeah.
And the reason it's so stressful was because for us it's an outdoor venue. So if it's gonna rain on people, that just ends the wedding, right? Because like people are eating and no one wants to eat in the rain. So then we have to set up cheongmak, which are these like tents. But if you set up tents, that makes the whole venue look terrible. It looks like a carnival. Like those, in Korea we call them Mongol tents. But if you go to a fair, the pointed tops where you can throw like balls in a circus game. Yeah. That's what was the option that was available. So, or the other option if it rained was to bring everybody inside. But then again, why did we pay so much to have an outside venue to bring everyone indoors into that building? So So then we went back and forth, and we were like, seriously, like we would debate each other. No, we downloaded like 4 apps, weather apps.
Yeah,
and we're like,
it was
AccuWeather, is this really accurate? But oh, it must be because it's called Accurate Weather. But then it would keep playing Miltang and it would go back and forth. And I was like, no. Then we got to download K-Weather since their satellites are based in Korea. But anyway, long story
in the
short.
end, none of them were right.
Yeah. That day, we were so blessed because the day before, it
was supposed to like rain really heavily the whole day, the day before, but it actually stopped raining in the morning.
Yeah.
And it started to be really sunny. Then we started to get a little bit like more relief that okay, then this weather may continue till the next day.
The day was beautiful. It was pure sun.
It's actually very hot.
Yeah, it was actually it was almost like, yeah, it was really hot. But we were we made the decision, you know what? Even if it's because the forecast was like cloudy with sun, one thing that we were considering was just going without any parasols.
Yeah.
Just going straight tables. But we did decide, you know what, regardless, we need to protect. Maybe a little bit of rain comes or there's sunshine. So let's go with the parasol.
Yeah.
But we were so lucky that we did that because that sun was starting to get hot, like really hot. And I could tell everyone was hot by the way they were fanning themselves.
People were sweating. I was sweating too.
Yeah. It's that sun after the rain that with
so strong
UV, you know.
And Korean people don't like the sun.
Oh no, they're deathly scared. Haven't you seen Korean ajumas walking in the park, like full visors over their foreheads, like the sleeves over their forearms?
Yeah, people don't like to get tanned
Yeah.
and just don't. It's not the same.
So besides the weather, what did you think?
No, I thought it was really beautiful. It was like very intimate wedding. We only had people that we wanted to be there over there. So we felt very personal, and yeah, I think it was perfect. I cannot really think of anything like negative.
I'll do what my dad always does, which irritated me. 10 out of 10. Please give me a score. Number, please.
I think your dad's face and your face kind of overlapped just now.
Sorry for that.
10 out of 10?
Or number out of 10?
No, it was really good. Yeah, maybe 9.5.
Okay, 9.5.
0.5
That's
because
really high.
the 0.5 is missing because on halfway through the wedding, I look at the people. All I see is this paper flicking, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, people
so
are
hot.
dying."
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. Then we did a really good job, and really happy that we did. I too. I loved it. I loved every aspect of it. To be honest, I had no regrets. More than anything, I could see how happy we were.
Yeah,
like we were laughing so much. And remember when you were walking down the aisle, you said that you heard like someone from Busan, from your mom's side, was like, "You're laughing too much."
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, because for my wedding day, the biggest fear that I had was I might cry, and if I cry, then I would just like burst down into tears, and it's like very hard to contain it. Yeah. So that was the last thing that I wanted. And then so when I was holding my dad's hand to walk the aisle,
yeah.
I didn't want to feel sad, so I was like, okay, let's smile. And I was like forcing myself to smile, and then I naturally felt better. So I was walking, and then somebody in the crowd is like,
Say it in
너무
Korean.
많이 웃는다. And I heard that, I was like, but it didn't affect me at all. But I was like, oh my gosh, maybe I am laughing too much. Maybe I'm supposed to look a little bit more like seldom or
yeah, like
or serious. Yeah, maybe I'm supposed to cry.
Yeah, I think you're supposed to look like all Korean drama-ish, like that kind of. But
almost about to cry, but not cry. That's the most difficult. And then so like, yeah.
No, but I like, even from what my friends and family was telling me, was like just the energy that was there at the wedding. You guys were so genuinely happy that that they felt great. Like it just,
Yeah.
yeah.
And more than anything, I also looked at my parents and your parents, like their faces.
Yeah.
And I remember being like really, like, I felt like they were really in the moment, enjoying. That also made me feel really happy.
Yeah. I could see your mom like cry and your dad almost crying too. And
Yeah.
my parents too were just very like,
Yeah. And yeah.
everyone, it was just such good positive vibes, nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Well, everyone has a little bit of anxiousness because they had their part to play in our wedding. But beyond that, it was just pure good energy, and I could feel it.
Yeah.
And so when it was my turn to walk down the aisle too, remember I told you, like, I think I was it you that asked me, are you nervous at one point?
I think I did.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? I think it's showtime or something like that. But not that in a fact that like we just spent so much time planning and being nervous and being anxious and seeing about the details that now as the jazz music started playing, the ambience, the people were there, I was like, I want to bask in this. Like, and I could feel it. Like I'm an extrovert and I draw energy from people. And so during that time, I could feel it and I just felt so good. And then my friend's comment was hilarious. He was like, Daniel, dude, when you were walking, like,
I thought it was your third wedding.
yeah. He's like, dude, you know what you remind me? You seem like a paid actor at a wedding. I
didn't know
why do you feel so natural at it? And I was like, dude, I don't know. I just feel so happy. Like, there's no nervousness here now because I just, this is what I wanted and it's happening and I could feel it.
Yeah.
And so I think that day, if I think about it now, was one of those moments in my life where I truly felt present.
I think so. Me too.
Right?
Not
We weren't
thinking about
nervous.
the future, not thinking about like what if that happened. We were just in the moment.
In the moment. And yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, when I didn't really get why the friend said that until I actually saw a video of us. You really did look confident. You look so confident, and in the meanwhile, I had some moments where I was like kind of nervous, but with that contrast between you and me,
I was just so ready to be married now. You know? So
yeah,
it was great, and the flowers came out absolutely beautiful. Oh my, the flower lady, like when she came to me, like in a comic book, she had like dark circles because she was like working the night before. I think she pulled an all-nighter to get all the stuff up.
Yeah, and they have such a hardcore job.
I know. And she was just like, 신랑님, 꽃은 어떠세요? I've never seen her like, literally seems like she had like a moon underneath her eyes. And I was like, it looks beautiful. And she was like, oh, 다행이네요. Oh, 다행이네요. All right, now back to my thing that I need to do. Yeah, so we need to go see her and pay her, buy her some stuff and
really thank her in person.
Debrief her.
Yeah.
Debrief with her again because she did a phenomenal job. So, yeah, I mean, there's so many little details, I guess, but I think for our fans, not interesting to go to that level since, you know, they weren't actually physically there, but
I want to ask you, like, if you were to do a wedding again, or if your friend asked you, would you still would you still choose to do an outdoor wedding in Korea?
So I think there's two things for me. So one is that I want to say, man, this is hard. So the weather, the stress and the anxiety from watching the weather is real. And they were telling us that if you do a 야외 결혼식, an outdoor wedding, you'll look at the weather until the day of. And I was like, I don't know, we'll be all right. But the day that we originally planned in October, that day was beautiful. We switched it to May 1st because of Corona. But May 1st, it poured that day. It rained, right? And then our final date, which was June 12th, the again, like we mentioned, it went back and forth until the day of. So it's so stressful. So like,
Especially in Korea where like the weather is changes a lot.
apparently there was a monsoon on its way or a typhoon on its way that weekend.
Yeah, I
That's why
forgot
it
to
was
say
the
that
crazy.
too.
That's why it was so crazy, the weather, right?
Yeah.
So
A typhoon was on its way, but luckily it went somewhere else.
so I would say that if you're an anxiety driven, or if you already have a lot of anxiety, perhaps this outdoor wedding in Korea, I would say no, but I want to say yes too, because there's a lot of big upsides. One is that if you have an outdoor wedding, especially maybe it's our venue, but I think in general, people stay focused on the ceremony, right? And so, people weren't like when you're at a wedding banquet or a bouquet or hall in Korea, people are like looking at the phones and like
Just going down to the whole like restaurant to eat.
yeah, there's because it's so fast in Korea. You just go look at the ceremony. All the like halmonis get the wedding coupons
Yeah.
or the meal tickets, and they go up early to get a good seat. So it's just there to be there.
Yeah.
Whereas I think an outdoor wedding provides an experience to our guests.
Yeah, and one of the best thing that I heard, or like one of the thing that made me feel the best was like when our guests were actually telling us like we had a very enjoyable time
Yeah.
in your wedding, and a lot of them were like our relatives
Mm.
and like old people,
Mm.
like our parents' friends, and they would be like, me up until this age never been to this type of wedding.
Yeah.
This is so beautiful and so enjoyable.
Mm.
And then that made me feel like
It was
so
worth
happy
it.
for them
Yeah.
that they also had a very unique experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. So it's hard to say. I don't know. Like I guess if you can control your anxiety and you can produce, I mean, I would say yes, because our result that happened, we were so blessed that day with the weather. Everything went smoothly and everyone had such an enjoyable experience. So I want to say yes, but who knows how it could turn out for other people, especially
Yeah.
with the weather. So I'm not sure. But how about you? Would you recommend it to a friend to go through it?
Mm,
Because imagine if you're like, for example, when you're getting married through this process, like you have trouble with your in-laws or you have trouble with this and that, and then you have to worry about the weather. It might be too much.
yeah, I think so. Like, especially with Korean wedding, there could be a lot of little things that could have stressed you. Like you said, if your parents are not getting along well,
Mm.
and then when I also see like on blogs how like some mothers will kind of start to not feel great about deciding about their hanbok, how one
Yeah.
person's hanbok is prettier, the other person's not. Like all those little like points of conflict could arise. Then yeah,
I think during this wedding process, I realized how big of a life event a marriage is, and of course that's a
Yeah.
very obvious statement. But if you think about a marriage, it brings together like all sources of like from your relationship with your friends, your financial standing, your relationship with your soon to be wife, your relationship with your in-laws, your parents' relationship with their
friends,
their friends
their
and
family
their
members.
relatives.
Yeah,
And so it brings everything together to one event.
yeah,
And even though the wedding itself, the logistics may not be that complicated, you're bringing in all of those emotional connections and relationships. And how can all of that be great, right? It stirs up emotion into everyone that's involved,
yeah,
and then you're packing it into this 3-4 half-day event.
yeah, it
right?
does.
So of course it's stressful, and of course it's like it's a very meaningful event.
Yeah,
But I didn't really think about it like that
until the moment, right?
until like
You
the
actually
last few
saw
days
it.
when I see like everything coming together, and I realized like, yeah, there's a lot of purpose to a wedding, and it's not just yeah, I mean, it is what you make out of it, but
Yeah, and also we had a little bit of like stressful moments with RSVP because in Korea or in
right.
Korean weddings, like the idea of RSVP is really like foreign. People just show up and like, you just get an estimate of how many people will come, and then like
that's because 90% of weddings are done at wedding halls or wedding banquet centers,
yeah,
and then the meal is usually a buffet. So you just give out tickets to whoever shows up. And then at the end, you pay however many tickets you gave out.
Yeah.
So you don't need to RSVP for a seat. Whereas if you do anything out of that norm, so like doing a yaoi or outside wedding is very, like it's not common at all. So this idea of having to RSVP and count, that was tremendously difficult.
Yeah.
Even for our parents to like tell them to show how many people are, to ask their relatives or their brothers and sisters, like how many is going to show up? Give me the exact number. And people are like, why?
Or people just like
They don't
get an estimate.
Yeah.
It's so difficult, and then so the numbers would change until the very last day. By that time we had already put in some buffer to the number, so we were okay, but still until like the actual day and the actual moment of like providing the meal, we were so nervous. What if like there isn't enough, more people show up, and then there isn't enough meals?
Yeah. So we've put a 5-person buffer.
Yeah.
And people that were supposed to show us, for example,
some people
friends,
didn't show up.
They couldn't show up because they got the AstraZeneca shot and then they had some symptoms, so they decided to stay home.
Yeah.
But then some relatives who didn't say a word, they just surprise showed up and like, oh, hey, we're here. And I was like, you well, I didn't say that, but in my mind I was like, well, why didn't you just say yes to make planning easier? But then, long story short, we had enough meals to cover. And that was another source of stress, right? So like, what if people show up and they can't get fed?
Yeah.
But then it's hard to distinguish who didn't RSVP or who showed up at the last minute, because we're not going to mark tables about who RSVP'd first and who didn't. So even if you RSVP'd like 6 months earlier and then you showed up, but you showed up a little bit late, you didn't get served. But the person who just surprise showed up will get served.
Yeah.
So like, it's just like, anyway, that's all done. All of that worrying is done now. Okay,
yeah,
it's
all
like,
done.
Woo!
I mean, it wasn't perfect, but it's like it was good enough. Like your grandma kind of complained about the food.
Oh, that's hilarious. Like my grandma's not used to eating like Western
or steak. Also, our food was like
steak. We got a nice steak and like kind of like a Western style fancy meal. But she lives in the countryside, and she was like, where's the rice? Where's the
된장찌개?
She's like, I'm dying out here. I'm having a heat stroke, and you're serving me this big piece of meat. Yeah, and she was like, it was so tough to eat.
Yeah,
I wanted something simpler, something Korean, because she was used to the buffet. But
yeah,
anyway, I think that's.
But it was nothing serious. We all just laugh about it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, we bought all those big kegs, but then the staff, staff didn't know how to like tap a keg. So then like it never got open. So now I have like 6 kegs in our house that I'm going to enjoy over the year here. Neighbors, to all of our community who's really been like supporting us with comments and with messages and words, we really want to say thank you, because us being on YouTube and sharing like parts of our lives on Instagram and through these social media, those like words really helped us, like encouraged us, made our relationship even more fun, and really I think nudged us to even get here.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. And to those who are now sick of us talking about wedding, your time has come. We'll move on now. But yeah, thank you so much. It really means a lot.
Yeah, it does. It really means a lot to us. And yeah, I felt like kind of people, we were all like spiritually part of it. Yeah,
definitely. Do you feel any different now that we're married than before?
I think nothing really changed physically, but I think just like the mindset.
Of course, Katie. I mean, how would you change physically?
No, it's not like we are moving to a moved to a different house, or
I see our circumstances.
Yeah. But yeah, just the mindset.
Yeah. How does it? How so? What's the difference in mindset?
I feel like now I can see I feel like now I'm taking more of a mother role of you.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Please elaborate.
Like,
or you want to take care of me more in that sense, or
yeah, more in that sense.
so you want to be more caring and tender because now that I'm your husband.
Yeah, I think so.
I see.
What about you?
For me, I don't know. As a guy, I just feel like, I just feel like we're one now, and it's not like my girlfriend; it's like my wife now, and it's like we're together now, and it's like this is what we call chapter 2, and we walk together as one, and I don't know, to watch a little bit more of like what I say and to be a little bit more like, I don't know what you're saying, caring and tender, and
Yeah, I think now I somehow have a bigger heart for you, like a bigger buffer to understanding. Like I see myself kind of reminding.
this is my husband.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, this is my wife. I understand how she is, and to like take it. Yeah. It's hard to describe. Maybe we'll marinate on this and be able to express it a little bit more detail oriented. But I know what you're saying. Now the wedding talk is done. Unless there's any like last little things that come to mind. So one thing that I do want to say is like in Korea, when you attend a wedding, the custom is to give money.
Yeah.
Whereas in the States, you put up a registry and then people will buy you gifts. So it's a big contrast in how you show support for that couple. And so when I first came to Korea, I used to be like, like just giving money is so impersonal and just so, I don't know, so easy. Like
not thoughtful.
So not thoughtful, right? But now having married and having received money, I'm like, this is the best.
Me too. It doesn't feel like that cold or, like.
Yeah, because that day you have to pay for you have to basically pay off the balance on the wedding venue, on the meals that were the caterer service, and you have to pay everything off. And basically when you come to the wedding, you'll put money into a envelope, drop it off in the box, and then basically you have friends or relatives who will count that money in the back. And then when the wedding's all done, they'll write down the name and then how much that person gave in this kind of like booklet. And then we pile all the cash together from both sides, and then we pay it down, right? So that's when I saw the value of like,
so practical.
It's very practical.
Yeah.
Right? Very practical. Whereas if I had like a whole table full of pots, like a iPhone, like some earbuds and a decanter, it's like, okay, that's great. I hope we use all of this in our honeymoon life, I guess. Yeah, now I see. And so now like
I feel like it was all the wisdom of the old people.
Yeah. So I think I like both ways now.
Me too.
And when my friend, who is also now about to get married, he's looking for large venues, and I think the really 5-star hotel wedding, which was at the Shilla, is it the Shilla?
Shilla Yeongbingwan, which is where all the like top celebrities or like big like rich people get married.
Yeah, he was telling me they were quoting for the wedding $100,000.
Yeah.
Right? Starting, I think, probably. And
the venue.
Yeah. But the reason he was looking there was he was expecting at least 500 people. So pretty large scale, because his parents have a lot of relatives and family and friends. So, but I was, if you look at the calculation, 500 people giving like a lot of money, it probably breaks even or makes money. So this is also what I've realized as well. If you're in Korea, give money, because that helps pay down the couple's costs. So now I think about it, because like when I first came to Korea, I gave friends some gifts, and I was like,
thinking that it would be
more thoughtful,
more meaningful.
But now I see like culture culture is everything. Like you should follow the culture. But I think they probably understood that I was coming from a U.S. mindset.
Yeah.
But whereas if you're in the US and you give a pocket full of money, it just feels like, whoa, what is this?
Yeah.
So anyway, just FYI for our listeners if you get invited to any weddings. Now, we took a plane to Jeju Island and we spent about a week there.
Yeah. For people who don't know Jeju, it's like an island in the southern tip of Korea. And it's like Korea's equivalent of Hawaii.
Actually, I've heard that comparison to Hawaii a few times. And when I first went to Jeju Island, I think maybe like 10, 12 years ago with a friend, I didn't know how to explore Jeju correctly. So I got into this like Korean style package. They put me on a bus and then they like, as part, at least they let us stay at the Shilla Hotel, but then as part of the package to keep prices low, we had to like visit all of these like halabong orange shops, and they were farmlands that they were like contracted with, and they would just sell us these like health benefit products, which is all BS in my mind. But all these old people would buy it, like you know the webbing of oranges.
Yeah.
Like they would market that as like this cure all. I forget what's that webbing called around the oranges when you peel it. There's that white kind of webbing.
껍질?
Anyway, I guess it doesn't matter. But people were raising their hands buying that.
Just that?
Yeah. Apparently they turned it into some sort of hanyak with that or whatever it is, medicine. But we had to visit that so many times. And then we took a bus and we went to a couple of tourist sites. And I was like, I don't see how people call this Hawaii. This is terrible. This is so boring. But if you go to Jeju, please rent a car. And just like how you would see Hawaii, there's so many like places where it's very raw. It's very like nature. There's no like high-rise buildings, and you get to explore by yourself. And the food is amazing. It's a bit overpriced now, some of the foods, because there's so many people coming to Jeju because they can't go anywhere else because of COVID.
So I have been to Jeju maybe like 2 times before, but up until now I've always like visited the east side of Jeju. And for our proposal, like when we went to our Jeju last time, you proposed to me, and we went to the east side too, and then visited another small island off of Jeju, which is called Udo.
Udo Island.
That place was really beautiful too. But this time we decided to go to the west side of Jeju, place both of us have never been, and it was very refreshing and also has a completely like different feeling to the east side. Yeah, it has a more like this southern tip that we went. It has
서귀포.
It has much more of like countryside vibe, and like the beach, the ocean that we went, the coastline, the 사계해변 is actually a protected area, which is why it's so raw and serene. And also we went to the southern tip of Jeju. There's a kind of mountain cliff called 송악산, and it's like the southernmost tip, and that place, that mountain was so beautiful.
송악산 was beautiful.
Yeah. It's like formed off of like volcanic eruption. So all those rocks on the cliff, it's all like black, and all those holes inside. So beautiful.
Do you remember? So one thing that I was really nice was that there was that little area where the sea, it created a natural swimming pool, so it blocked it off from the waves from the outside, but then water came in and formed that, like, it was basically a huge tidal pool, but it's big enough where you could swim, and then outside waves would come in and just refresh the natural water there. And Katie and I was like, Katie, I have to jump into this thing, because like for me, in my past life, I was a sea otter and I need water. And as soon as I hit natural seawater, trust me guys, I just turn into a dolphin, just everywhere. So Katie and I, that night, it was starting to rain a little bit. There's just slight like rain. And we went to that place. You got to remind me what the name was, Katie.
Yeah.
And we walked down and we jumped in there. And it felt so good. And when I looked down, there was actually some pango, like some large fish on the bottom as well. Absolutely like a kind of a hidden spot. Actually, we thought it was a hidden spot, but there was there was
A
like
lot of people.
there was already a lot of people there, and like they were renting out like some life vests as well, so that you don't get, well, actually you wouldn't get swept away, but just so that you could see the fishes underwater and enjoy your time there.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It was called 선녀탕 something. I don't know.
So I would recommend that. And then the other place that was really awesome was we went scuba diving.
Yeah.
That was your
Scuba
first time
diving
scuba diving.
For the first time.
Yeah. We took a yacht. We went out. And how did you like it? Your first time scuba?
I was actually very nervous at the beginning.
Yeah,
because I couldn't get used to like breathing through my mouth, and then I breathed in, and some air came in, and it was such a like foreign experience. And then, but then our guide was so like friendly and helpful that like I really trusted him. And then for the first time went underneath the ocean, and then saw all this like miak, all these fish. It was very like a memorable experience. Like
you see that there's a whole underworld.
Yeah.
Like there's land life and then there's sea life, right?
Yeah.
So like every time we see sea animals, they're usually like on a fishing line, just right. But then
it's so beautiful.
When you see them in their own natural habitat up close, they like have their own personalities and beautiful homes, right?
Yeah, I was like, and at one moment, because to me, when I inhale and exhale, that the oxygen through the oxygen tank, it sounds so big. So I was like, am I kind of disrupting them? Am I like being the noise pollution to them? Because under the sea, it just felt so serene.
Yeah, there's not a sound, right?
Yeah.
Oh, when you breathe out, you mean like
there's a sound. So I was like, yeah.
Right.
To me, it sounds so loud. Then hopefully it wasn't too loud to them.
Well, I'm happy that you tried it, because now you can get your open water license and we can go scuba diving. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to like encourage like, what is this?
Nothing.
I want to encourage like my brother and like my other friends to like try it out.
Scuba.
Like it's like you have to try it out.
Yeah.
Like even if you don't get the license, I think it's like an experience to like remember.
Definitely.
Yeah, we did so much in Jeju. Like I feel like it was so action packed. Even though we didn't intend it to be, but I think it's just like our character.
Yeah, I don't think we're the type to go to a place and just stay in a resort. Like
do nothing.
Like think about how tired we were from the wedding. Like we still wanted to go out and explore. Like the way we travel, we get energy from new experiences.
Yeah.
And we just cannot stay in a hotel. Like we need to be out on the go, eating, looking, observing, walking, trying. That's just how we de-stress.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah. So it was very nice.
Like because we start the day so early, so by the time it's like 2, some days I will feel so tired, so we will come back to the hotel, take a nap, and go out again.
How about some foods that we really enjoyed there? We had the 성게. What was the
보말 미역국?
Yeah, so it's like seaweed. It's like 미역국, seaweed soup with uni.
Uni and godong, 바닥 godong.
Godong is like a small like.
Let me see.
What do you call kodong? Actually, I saw some in Hawaii. My dad was like, "Oh, there's kodong," and he would like take it off the rock and eat it raw. People are like, "What the heck?" But kodong, you can. It's a small shellfish.
It says beating.
Yeah, it's called beating.
No.
The Google translation is called a beating.
No.
You want to catch a beating?
No. This is wrong.
It's all right.
It says sea beating.
Sea beating. Yes, go catch a sea beating in Korea. What other stuff? There was the galchi. So,
always the hole in the wall places are the best, because we've tried like jeonbokjuk at multiple places, and
abalone porridge,
as well as 물회.
Oh, 물회 was so good.
We at our Airbnb provided this kind of tour book guidebook on Jeju, and
Yeah.
this one hole in the wall place was in the book.
Yeah.
So we went and tried out. From the outside, it just looks like it's so old and doesn't look attractive. But then
Yeah.
when we had the food, we ordered 물회 and 갈치조림.
Yeah. Oh man.
The best
So
갈치조림
so
and
budhae,
물회.
for people who don't know, is actually I never really tried budhae before this trip, but I saw it on a Netflix drama. There's like this gangster movie where this guy, it's a recent one, top trending, I forget the name, but he goes and before he goes kills everybody. He's in Jeju. He has to like take a break in Jeju, and he stops by this budhae place and he eats it so deliciously.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I need to try that. But budhae is basically like strips of sashimi. Sometimes it's like squid, and then it's like basically tossed into a very spicy, tangy cold broth, kind of like naengmyeon. But you eat it with a bowl of rice as well, hot rice. And the style that they do in Jeju is they put a little bit of doenjang, soybean paste, but
yeah.
just a small amount where you can't even taste it, but it adds like this degree of umami.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we had it at the matjip,
Mm-hmm.
it tasted phenomenal, right? Like you could taste the tanginess of the vinegar, of the umami from the doenjang, plus
Yeah.
the gochujang a little bit, right?
It was
But-
just the perfect balance.
And I never seen you eat sashimi like that.
Yeah, because
You eating?
usually I can't really eat raw fish.
And then we tried it again, but at more of a touristy place, and the whole thing tasted like chogochujang, right?
Yeah,
Just like
such a
too strong.
yeah.
Yeah. So definitely a difference. And one thing that I do have to say is, we're saying all these good things, man. Like, there are a lot of restaurants in Jeju which are operated by like the Chinese. So a lot of Chinese money has come into Jeju over the years, because I think it's visa free. I think Jeju is visa free for
really?
Chinese nationals.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But then there's also a lot of people who come into like invest into Jeju
Yeah,
like
into
over
the
the last
property.
decade.
Yeah.
And of course, there's a lot of restaurateurs that come. But then if you go to some restaurants, oh man, the service is so rude. And a lot of them are operated by these Chinese restaurateurs who are going for like low cost. So as soon as you come in, you just hear like, what do you want?
Yeah.
What are you going to order? This is self-service. Go pick up if you want extra over there. And it's just so like, whoa, it's not what
So rude.
so rude. Or it's so it's they're trying to run
Doesn't
it.
feel like Korea.
Yeah, it runs so impractical, or like they're running for efficiency, right? For
Yeah.
low cost. And I was very put off by that.
Yeah, we've actually went to two restaurants that were served by Chinese people,
Yeah.
and like the service was bad, but also the food tasted bad.
Yeah. And I could tell, okay, they're not run by locals. Yeah.
Mm.
And so it's not against Chinese people, but it's just there is this like difference between restaurants that are run by Chinese and then the restaurants that are run by locals. And there's a huge gap in service and also a huge gap in food quality and taste. So
Yeah.
that became very apparent to me. Like I
Yeah.
didn't realize that when I came 10 years ago,
Yeah.
partially because it wasn't happening then. But
I don't really know if they are run by Chinese people, but definitely they were Chinese employees there serving.
maybe it's that
The owner may be Korean, but
the owner
it's
may
just,
be Korean, but they're going for
hiring
very
the Chinese employees, and just the experience was off-putting.
So what it is that the Chinese who have been like hired there, they can't speak Korean. So they memorized a few phrases.
Yeah.
So they're going by like FM. So as soon as you sit down, they just spit out what they were trained to do, and then they can't do anything else. Can't give you a recommendation or be personable because they can't speak the language. So maybe you're right. It's not that it's Chinese restaurants. It's more of Koreans who are staffing Chinese
For the lower cost or
to maintain
something.
low cost and
Yeah.
things like that. So, but anyway, that one was a pretty stark, I guess, bad impression
Yeah.
on us. And then also Jeju people, just local Korean locals in Jeju. Man, you guys are rude.
They're not all that friendly.
Like there's like a general stereotype in Korea that Jeju people are very rude. And
Mm.
even when I was working at the bank,
Mm.
there was a person who was like a superior to me, and then another person was like made a snarky comment like, "Oh, that person's from Jeju, and that's why she's the way she is." I was like, what the heck? I have no context for that because I was coming from the States. I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
Like, and you said too, right? At your workplace, there are some people from Jeju, and you said they're very snarky, right?
Yeah.
But I guess that's just island people. I don't know. I know we're making a big generalization, but when we came across some people that were from Jeju, man, I felt like there were people with chip on their shoulders. If you were like,
they're not friendly.
Yeah.
They could be a stereotype, but yeah, that was our experience.
Yeah.
So.
I'm just saying it the way it is. So
Yeah.
Jeju people, man, y'all need to line up. Your island survives on tourism money, so you better be nice. Because remember what I was saying was like, I feel like Jeju is like Hawaii, but without the aloha. Without the aloha spirit. Because we keep running into locals who are just like, what are you doing on an island kind of like approach. Just so. Anyway.
Well, never been to Hawaii, so can't compare.
Yeah, most people are very friendly. Very friendly. But neighbors, I think we shared some videos and stories on our Instagram, so check it out there. But
well, like at least like COVID seems to like the situation with COVID seems to be getting better. And like in Korea too, I think they're easing the social distancing rule so that starting from July, you can kind of group with people with more than right now the rule is that you cannot, how would you say it, gather with people more than 5, but then the number is getting eased to 6 starting July, and from 15th of July it's going to be to 8.
Yeah. Speaking of, they're also easing the restriction. So if you got the shots from abroad, you can come into Korea without doing the 2 week
so
the 2 week
so the reason
quarantine. But I can't tell. I don't know if my dad saw that news, but my parents came in for 2 weeks even though they already got their shots, and they had to stay in our house for 2 weeks. Oh, we forgot to mention all of that.
Oh yeah,
right?
That was also,
that was not easy.
That's why the wedding felt like more than a day. Felt like 3 weeks for us, because all that like pre-wedding like situation we had.
So that my parents could quarantine a little bit easier, we decided to step out, and we were in Airbnbs around Korea for 2 weeks. But then now that our wedding is done, they now easing these restrictions. But I can't tell my parents that because I think they would be like, what? But anyway, that was the close to chapter 1. And we will be more frequently uploading now and getting back to our regular routine. So stay tuned, y'all.
Yeah, what's your next recipe going to be? Some Jeju-inspired food?
Perhaps.
Oh, I have to say, we went to this Jeju 흑돼지 barbecue place, and of course the BBQ was good.
Black pork, Jeju black pork restaurant. Yeah.
But also their 된장찌개 with crab 된장찌개 was so good too.
Okay, 된장찌개. Maybe we do that.
There was nothing special. It was just tofu and some crab, but it tasted so good.
When you have good seafood and you cook it into broth, it sets that base layer. It's just amazing. And the kimbap in Jeju was so good.
Oh,
the kimbap.
It's like their specialty. I didn't know, but there is this one famous kimbap restaurant called Gochujar that was like popping up, and like we were like, okay, maybe what's so special about kimbap? Let's try out. We went. Basically, for this kimbap restaurant, you have to book like a day in advance just to pick up with kimbap. You cannot even eat there. It's just pick up.
Yeah, kimbap is like $2-3, right?
Never seen a kimbap place where you have to book in advance.
Yeah.
People were like lining up. They were taking like selfies in front of that kimbap place.
But we tried another kimbap place that was near our hotel in the last few days, and then
it was really good. I think it's about their ingredients.
And they're big. They were using a tot, like little fresh type of seaweed. And then also they had the yubu chobap, the skin, the yubu. Fried yubu.
Yeah, yubu.
Fried tofu skin as an ingredient. Maybe we can try doing that on Future Neighbor.
Yeah.
But seafood is hard because like it really depends on the quality of seafood. So even if you put up an amazing recipe, if you're not sourcing quality seafood,
Yeah,
it just turns out tasting a little bit funky.
I think.
Anyway, y'all, thank you. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
And for those who are single and be like, damn, finally you guys stop talking about wedding stuff. The moment has come. For those who are married, we're joining the community as well. And for all those who are undecided, go get wedded. It's a great experience. I'm talking about it as if it's like something to do.
You just started.
Much love, guys. We're out.
Thank you for listening.
Bye bye.
See you.
Aloha.